Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. One of the more dominating offensive performances for about the first 30 minutes I've seen in a long time in college basketball. Arizona made a run, they went to zone, but it was not enough. Goodman, what are your major takeaways from Purdue's win over Arizona?
All right, so I'm ready to say it. I'm ready to say that Braden Smith is in the conversation for best point guard in the country. I wouldn't put him ahead of Tyler Kolek, but I'm just saying, like, he's moved himself into the convo right now because, kind of like Kolek, he does everything. He's an elite shooter right now. In case you haven't looked, like, he's shooting like 46% from three. He makes people better. He's playing with confidence and swagger that he wasn't playing with last year. Remember, this is a kid who, going into his freshman year, was recovering from two Jones fractures and didn't play, didn't practice, didn't do anything until September of a year ago. He was their only ball handler as a freshman. There was way too much on his plate. They were still an elite team. But again, he didn't play well against FDU. He was one of the reasons that they lost in that game. It was embarrassing. He has come back with an absolute vengeance and been that kind of Robin that they need, right? I mean, obviously they got Batman with Zach Edey, but they needed a Robin, and Braden Smith wasn't quite that last year. He is that now. Period.
Randolph?
He's good, but Jeff is jet lagged, man. Don't hold him, accountable for his words right now. He's tired. He needs to shut it down a little bit. We'll get him to bed a little early tonight. I can't give him that. Best point guard in the country? No, he's good. He's been damn good, and he's good. But I won't. I'm not ready to give him that. There's a few other guys on that list I think have been consistently playing at a higher level. We talk about Kolek. There's so many guys throughout the country. I think R.J. Davis belongs in that. The guy that we didn't talk about early in the year has been playing at a high level. There's too many other guards. I think this before I do that, but he is. I think he deserves more respect than he's been given from a national perspective. I'd say that.
Let me ask you like this, RC. I don't think whether or not he is the best point guard in the country necessarily matters for what Purdue wants to be able to accomplish this season, right? I think what matters is, do you think he's good enough where he can put up a performance? It doesn't have to be he doesn't have to get 26 like he did tonight. He doesn't have to get 27 like he did against Alabama. But is he good enough to be able to play at a level where we're not going to see an FDU situation where we're not going to have questions about where else they can get offense? Like, because to me, the headline coming out of this game was we finally saw what Purdue can be when Fletcher, Loyer, and Braden Smith are both great. They had 53 points combined, 20 for 33 from the floor, 9 for 16 from three. Right? Are they good enough? Is that good enough for this team to be able to, get out of the first weekend, get out of the first round of the NCAA tournament? I got all the jokes today, guys. I got all the jokes.
I thought they answered that in Maui, to be honest. I don't think there's any question of that. I think the one thing that you saw in this matchup, 1 versus 2, was I thought the physicality and the athleticism of the guards, we wondered how they do that. And let's be honest, they won the matchup. So if you had concerns or question marks about that, then you got to scrap that because we knew the Arizona guards were big, physical, and athletic, and they get after you defensively. And they had no problem with that at all. Now, we know where it starts with Zach Edey, but the backcourt of Purdue was the better backcourt today overall.
Mm-hmm. No, he's right. He's right. I mean, that was the biggest question coming in, right? Like, how is Purdue's guards? How are they going to be able to handle it? Because, Fletcher, Loyer, it looks about a half of the width of Rob Dauster. And he stood up pretty well today, right? He stood up pretty well. Both ends of the court, by the way.
Yes.
Both ends of the court. He was really good defensively. Like, Purdue, again, they still gave up 84 to Arizona, but Arizona's a pretty damn good offensive team. Caleb Love was terrific. He kept Arizona in this game, but ultimately, again, those two guards were dominant, especially in the first 20. And then when it came down to it and in the second half, what did they do? They fed the big man, and then it's like, pick your poison. Like, what do you do? If you don't double him, like poor Umar Ballo, like 1-on-1, he had no chance. Zero. Nobody does. Nobody does in the country. So then when you double him, if Loyer is playing well, and I talked to Loyer after the game, we'll hear from him in a little bit. But one of the things he said is like, I know I need to be more consistent, but if teams try to press up on me, what it does is if I'm not having a big game, it opens it up for those other guys even more.
Yeah, I thought another really important stat that came out of this game was that Zach Edey finished with a career high 5 assists. And it feels like RC, that's kind of, he adds something every year. And I feel like he's a little bit more mobile. He's a little bit better defensively. Like you can see the development with him every single season. And I feel like he's seeing the floor a little bit better and understands like where those traps are coming from. Because I want to say there were like 3 or 4 times in this game where Arizona tried to trap the post from the strong side. And he was able to just kind of like, whoop, flip it right back out there. I think they got 2 or 3 threes out of that.
I mean, obviously, besides his sheer size advantage, he's just seeing where the double team's coming from. There's nothing now you can do to him that he hadn't seen already. I mean, he's going to see where you're either going to come baseline, you're coming from the elbow, or you're coming strong side. He's picking your apart either way because they do a good job of diving guys to the rim. They put so much pressure on the rim, and he's going to see over top of it. So doubling him, I mean, it's kind of counterproductive because they're going to get an even better look. You're just going to have to pick your poison and say, we're going to give an open jump shot or take a death by 1,000 cuts and let him just punish you in the paint.
Yeah, so the KenPom is still really noisy right now, right? There's still a lot of other things going on with some of the numbers on there, but
noisy.
I do think it's worth pointing this out.
KenPom is noisy, RC. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's noisy. Do you know what you don't understand? That means
I
that
do. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
A lot's going on. There's other games. It's
no.
around.
It just means that the
numbers are moving. RC.
No, it means that there's not necessarily like the best way to identify some of the stuff. It's like plus minus. There's a lot going on that impacts the way that those numbers look at this point in time. But Purdue is sitting here right now with a win over number 4 Arizona, a win over number 9 Alabama, a win over number 6 Marquette, a win over number 7 Tennessee, a win over number 18 Gonzaga, a win over number 43 Xavier, and a win over number 52 Iowa. I don't think there's anybody in college basketball that has a resume that is anywhere near as good as what Purdue has put together. I know they lost on the road. I know they lost to Northwestern. I know Boo Booey lit them up. A lot of teams are going to get Boo Booey this year, but you're going to have a very hard time convincing me that when Braden Smith and Fletcher Loyer are capable of doing what they did tonight against a team that we all thought was one of the best defensive teams in the sport, like, what do you do, Jeff? How do you stop them? What do you do? Like, where's the weakness in this group?
Well, I mean, again, here's the one thing I'll say is like Arizona did play him, it's 15 a couple times, but like they played him pretty close. They got back in this thing in a crowd that was like almost 90% Purdue. It was a Purdue home game. So again, Purdue's been very good. They've got by far the best resume. They're the number 1 team in the country right now. But I thought Arizona showed a lot when Kai Boswell did not play well at all tonight, right? Completely outmatched, as we kind of talked about there. Arizona Pella Larson wasn't great tonight. And they were able to kind of fight almost till the end where it was, they put some game pressure on him towards the end there. So, I think Purdue's the best team, but I think there are some other teams that, again, have a chance against them. But, what do you do with Zach Edey? There's not much you can do with Zach Edey. He's going to get his 25 and 10 every night.
Yeah. RC?
No, I don't have much to add with that. I mean, it was hell of a performance. I'd say it would have been shocking or concerning had Arizona not played the zone because the zone surprisingly gave us some trouble. And if they didn't use the zone to get back in the game, I mean, then this could have been bad. But I don't think any less of Arizona equally. I thought they still were efficient from the floor. They just had lapses in the game as well. I mean, they shot the ball well, but the efficiency which Purdue scored against a team that we thought guard-wise was the kryptonite to this Purdue team and had size to throw bodies and fouls at Zach Edey. This was the matchup we were talking about, and let's be honest. I mean, for the majority of this game, Purdue was the better team.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.